Hey everybody, welcome to the TRICHOMES Hash It Out podcast. I am your host, RJ Balde. In this episode, I'll be talking to Jeff Yapp about how seeking alternative treatment methods led him to working in the cannabis industry. We'll also talk about what his company has planned for the holiday season and more. Without further ado, it's time to hash it out. All right, my guest today is the president and CEO of a cannabis company that specializes in production, distribution, and retail, serving markets in California, Nevada, Oregon, and Washington. Welcome to the show, Jeff Yapp. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you? It's great to be with you today.
Not bad. Yeah, great to see you. Where are you joining us virtually from today?
I am in Portland, Oregon, from my home.
Okay, right on. And how has how's the quarantine, how's the stay at home, work from home life been treating you this year?
It's been interesting. Career spans much longer than I'd like to admit, but now almost 40 years. In that time, I have almost 14 million air miles. So I
Ooh,
traveled almost every week for the last 30, 40 plus years. And then I have not been on a plane since February. And I
wow,
probably will never go back to the travel the way I was doing it before. So I've actually enjoyed
really?
it. It's been great. I had some kids. I have 7 children. Some of them haven't come
Wow,
back home. Yeah, I do. They go from 21 to 35 years old, and
wow.
several of them have come back home, and it's been nice because you get to a point where they move on and they graduate and move on, and I didn't think we'd have some time to spend with them, so we've been blessed in that
Mm,
front, and it's been so far, everyone's been healthy. It's sad because I clearly see it spiking, and for the first time, I have many people close to me that are getting sick, so it's real.
mm,
I think we all
yeah.
have to be really careful, but it's been for me, it's been a chance to stay at home and not travel the way I've historically done.
Yeah, I can imagine that was. Did you have any? I mean, I would presume that you had a bunch of travel plans then. If that was your normal life, you've had a bunch of travel plans
Oh,
this
absolutely.
year. So what was that like? Like going back into like March or whatever when everything started shutting down. How what was that experience like, and how did you go about sort of adapting so quickly to the state of the world?
I was amazed actually at how quickly, actually the agility of, I'm
Hmm.
involved with several companies, and the agility of all the employees to move and adapt was pretty incredible.
Hmm.
Golden Leaf Holdings, we literally made the decision before the governor did that we would work remotely, and the finance team, everybody picked up their stuff, and within the next day, we were running like we had always done that. A client with Microsoft, and they made a massive decision, and very, very quickly, you realize that spending 45 minutes to an hour or 3 or 4 hours travel time was not a good use. And so I think in general, we found ourselves to be very productive. Obviously, those who can't, work remotely, folks that work in our operations, people who work in our stores, our priority is pretty clear. We're going to keep them safe. You keep our customers safe, and then really keep the business open. So I
Yeah.
have been really impressed with the agility the team has shown through just kind of an amazing journey over this past year.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it's certainly been I guess sort of like a litmus test, more for lack of a better term, of like um flexibility and willingness to adapt, because I think, you know, the events of this year have sort of proven that, like, if you are not open to adapting or improving upon your systems, this year will certainly sort of like sort you in a certain category
Absolutely.
based on
I
that
think it's
willingness.
it's been even more. I think every day I wake up, I'm very grateful for the team we built at Chalice and the folks that have been here before I got here. But you think about since last fall, I
Hmm.
joined, became the CEO last fall. Thing I was greeted with was a vape ban that literally shut
Oh
out,
my
made
god.
40% of my product illegal. We
Yep.
recovered from that quickly. The team showed huge agility. We added new products, new markets, so we didn't have dependency so heavily in one category. Very successfully pivoted, got ourselves started, and then we roll in the first quarter and run into this thing called COVID, which I don't think any of us saw anything like that coming. And all of a sudden, we
Mm-mm.
found ourselves in a place where many of our employees could have stayed home and made more money staying at home than coming to work, yet they showed up every day. And just so proud of the work they did and the way they jumped in. And I really felt, and they think they did too, that they were an essential service. They were providing a product that their customers needed and depended on and needed to be open for them. So in fact, unlike a lot of our partners or competitors in the space, we leaned in. So we actually added people, added shifts. We knew we didn't want to have any hesitancy at all. If you weren't feeling okay, we didn't want you to come to work. We wanted you to be able to stay home and be comfortable in doing so. And we did that. And I think as a result of that, it's been, we were able to actually grow our share in the market, which was nice. So I guess that was the piece that I amazed. And then after we got out of, we hit COVID, and then we decided to burn downtown Portland down. So the social unrest that just racked
Yeah.
the city. Our store was broken into 3 or 4 times. One of our
I was
downtown
going to ask you
stores.
about
Oh
that.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
insane. But I think the thing I was most proud of, I'd get a call from my head of operations or the store manager at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, and they were in there cleaning the store up and getting it set up to be open the
Mm.
next day. And I think,
Wow.
it's been amazing. We finally had to, board up all of our windows and doors because it got ridiculous. One of our employees painted this amazing mural on our store, and it actually grew our traffic. So I guess you could
Oh,
take it
wow.
as a silver lining, but the
Yeah.
team did a really, really nice job. And then we finished that out, and we decided to try to burn the state down with, almost um, unheard of forest fires. And we ended
Hmm.
up, offering, in many cases, employees had to relocate. Some of our partners and vendors had to. We offered space for people who were in harm's way. They can move our product in. So product like, different companies really made it pretty amazing. So really pleased.
Mm. Yeah. It it's, every day you wake up and it's like, what is the crisis today? Right? Like
Absolutely. Just
what is going on?
unbelievable. And
Yeah.
look, we were happy with the election. We didn't know what was going to happen. And the fact that it was calmer than we expected, I think was good news.
Oh,
Now we
yeah.
move into the season, and when you think you've got COVID handled and you understand, now we have to brace for the fact that it's pretty inevitable some of our team is going to get sick, and then how we respond and what we do to keep them safe and the rest of our team members safe. It's an
Yeah.
ongoing conversation, but I think through all of that, and we just announced our third quarter, we've had
Mhm.
back-to-back record quarters. First time ever, we turned profit. We went cash flow positive, and so after a series of kind of really tough time, this team has pulled together in a way and turning out performances that I don't think anybody expected to see. So we're really excited by how they've done.
That's great. That's great. It's important to um especially in times like these, take time to count your blessings and to recount all the reasons to be grateful, because even in a even in a literal global pandemic, there still can be a silver lining. So I'm great to hear that the company is doing well. I'm great to hear that you have your health and your loved ones have your health. And I continue to wish for the health of your employees, because like you said, we're recording this a couple days before Thanksgiving. The holiday season is ramping up, and um it there comes that fear of, during all of this, will cases rise? It's almost inevitable that they will, with the amount of travel happening now. And so I just continue to wish for your continued health and the health of your entire team, um
We appreciate
because yeah.
that. I mean, I think
Yeah.
it has been. Look, we want to get 2020 behind us in the rearview mirror, and look
Mm.
forward to kind of. I'm blown away by what the government's been able to do from a vaccination perspective, and hopefully that'll start to make this get back to business. Because I think for me, watching the devastation for small business owners,
Mm.
clearly we fit in that category, small business, has been really hard to deal with. We have I have tons of friends in the restaurant business. Watching businesses that had been around Portland for decades disappear is just not okay. And I think that
Hmm.
the sooner we get this behind us and get moving forward, the better we're all going to be. But it's been pretty devastating, no question about it. And I agree with you. I think the only attitude is grateful because, on one side of me, I've got kids home that I probably wouldn't see again, except on holidays. And I've had a chance to spend some time with them. That's been great. And so far, everyone stayed healthy. But yeah, I think we all have to be a lot to be grateful for.
Yeah, certainly, certainly. And speaking of jumping back or putting, and let's hope we can put 2020 behind us in 2021. Let's hope the vaccine, the three vaccines that are viable now. Let's hope that news continues to be good and to improve. But yeah. Speaking of looking back, I want to get a little backstory from you for our
Sure.
viewers here because I understand that much of your experience is in tech and
Well, actually,
I believe it was
it's different. I came out of marketing in general. I started in
okay.
packaged goods marketing.
Got it. Got
Much
it.
of my time was actually spent in entertainment. So I was president of 20th
Oh
Century
yes,
Fox
that's right.
Studio Distribution.
Mm-hmm.
I worked for
MTV,
MTV
right?
for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and so that road to technology has been interesting. And it literally happened through when I was working at MTV. I worked on a project and then decided to start my own company. The artist was Taylor Swift, and we worked together for a while. And
Yeah.
that worked, and that then led me to technology, and I've worked with Microsoft now for over 10 years. And it
Yeah.
was actually through Microsoft, and they were really interested in the space from a technology perspective, and I went out and met some of the early cannabis operators, one on the East Coast in particular. And I found myself leaving the meeting and thinking about next generation health and wellness. And as I thought about cannabis, I had one of my younger sons, CJ, was
Mm-hmm.
born autistic. He had autism, Crohn's, and colitis, and we really have healed him through alternative, a basic and alternative approach to health. A lot of plant-based medicine, no pharmaceuticals at all. Really, a blend of
Yeah.
East and West medicine. Tried pretty much everything, and I found, today he had no Crohn's, no colitis, and when I asked him, I said, "CJ, what are you going to do when you grow up?" He said, "Well, why would I ever want to grow up? I got the greatest gig in the world." So I know he's no longer autistic either, but he's doing amazingly well. And I started to think about cannabis and started to research it and realized its roots and heritage go back into Chinese medicine. And you realize it's pretty amazing. And
Yeah.
realize the way the body's created and the endocannabinoid system and what it can really do. And I had been exposed to cannabis. I mean, not as a user, believe it or not. All through high school, I grew up in the 70s and early 80s. I went to school in Ann Arbor, Michigan, which celebrated the decriminalization of hash and
Yep.
cannabis in 72. So,
Yep.
but and never an issue. But the folks, I knew friends who got high every day and never had an issue. I mean, ran 60-mile, ultra marathons and great health. And I didn't see any of the addictive qualities that you see in alcohol and tobacco. And I thought,
Mm.
well, there's something to this plant. And I ended up, this thing didn't work out on the East Coast. You know, another story of kind of crazy, sharky investors taking control of the company. So
Mm.
we ended up moving forward with them. But I met another entrepreneur who just sold his company, Chalice Farms, a guy named William Simpson. And William built a retail chain called Chalice and 7 stores in Oregon. And he and I started to talk, and he was in the business for exactly the same reason. He believed cannabis saved his life, and he had been, hooked on different painkillers and different issues, and started, first edibles, and started making a huge difference in his life, and decided that he was going to change careers and move into cannabis, and he did. And the stores were built on a premise of approachability and accessibility, right? One of the
Mm.
challenges you face if you're not in this business, it's overwhelming, it's intimidating. I walked into several stores, you had, hundreds of products, and where do you start, right? So
Right.
what I loved about YM was he focused his stores, the environment, the way they were lit and set up, way it made it easy for people who weren't comfortable in the space to get comfortable. And
Mm.
we've just continued building on that. And today, I think, we clearly see taking care of the current users, but the opportunity for this industry really is the 75% of the population that doesn't have a relationship with cannabis, new users. And I think
Right.
new users will come to this as a via health and wellness. They will, we all suffer from very similar. Some can't sleep, some in pain, stress. And just got on a list that affects 98% of our population. I think
Hmm.
cannabis offers plant-based medicine an alternative to some of the things that I think have less than optimal effect. So I'm really committed to what how cannabis can help you show up on purpose. It gets out the detractors that get in your way every day. If you can't
Yeah.
sleep, you're a mess. If you are in constant pain, it's just
Hmm.
unbearable. And I guess I get the biggest thrill when I see seniors who have discovered the benefits of cannabis and have changed their lives. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
such an amazing feeling to watch early in the morning our stores in the lines of, you know, retirees and 16, 17-year-old folks who I think in a million years wouldn't have thought they'd ever try the product, but their kids got them to try something and it really works.
Yep.
I tell a story, one of our employees, she's a D1 athlete all through college. Both of her sisters, her dad was a coach. Her grandfather, of course, he was a military veteran and a professional football player. So we just go add it up. But he
Wow.
is now, a regular consumer of the product and feels dramatically better because of it. And I think that's why we're here. That's why we do what we do. And I think that's just an example where I think this is going to go. But our belief is as we get legalized, which we hope is going to happen this year, I'm pretty
Hmm.
confident it will, we're going to really be making differences in people's lives. I think that's the
Yeah.
ride we're on.
No doubt, no doubt. And I think that's great that you're putting an emphasis on um, not only taking care of the current cannabis consumer or medical cannabis patient, but also, um, like you said, expanding to the large swaths of the population that haven't yet, that haven't been introduced yet, or haven't found an entry point. Because I feel like sometimes in the cannabis industry, from my personal perspective at least, um, lots of companies and lots of brands sort of it's sort of, if you don't already know, it can be intimidating. If you don't already know the terminology, if you don't already know strain names, if you don't already know like about
Oh, it's
terpenes
overwhelming.
and all of these things, yeah, it's so much
Overwhelming.
information at once. And like you take someone into a dispensary, like say I've had people that visit California, for example, that come from states where it's not legal yet, and I bring them to the dispensary for the first time, and it's just an overwhelming experience to see all of this stuff
And it's
that
intimidating.
you and I might see. Yeah.
Right. It's intimidating. And I think for us, I mean, our whole philosophy at the company is different. We don't think about other retailers as competitors. We don't think about other suppliers as competitors. Our job is to encourage and support the best of the industry. I think what
Mm,
hurts the industry is when someone walks into a poorly run retail shop and has a bad experience, right? The kid behind the counter is a stoner who's been smoking weed since he was 15 and
right.
knows everything, and they just don't relate. And I think that's a bad experience. I think
Yeah.
products that are not of good quality or of the highest quality, that's experience. So
Hmm.
us, we think about, we want great retailers. We want the best. And we want the ones that aren't good to go away. And we want the good ones to grow. I think that because we're not competing with each other, we're competing with Walgreens and the pharmaceutical group and the alcohol
Mm,
business. Those are massive competitors, and we're not
right.
even in that place. So for us, we think of this as a much bigger journey, and that when this becomes, we're on an even playing field and we're no longer considered an illegal substance, and the banks start to open up, we're going to be looking at as an alternative to folks taking a pharmaceutical drug. That to me
Hmm.
is a big deal, and that's where we're going to go. So I want great operators. I want people who are committed to the integrity of their product. I think
Yeah.
that's exciting.
What was it like? What was your experience like, and what was the experience like of your son CJ in terms of finding the right product, whether it be the right strain, the right methodology, edibles, tinctures, what have you? What
Absolutely.
was the process like to find the right thing for him?
I think for CJ was largely focused around his diet, but I'll talk about my journey. It was interesting
Okay.
because I go pretty hard all the time, and sleep is a premium for me, and I don't get it very often. And when you
I feel
travel
that.
the way I traveled, you couldn't, you get all screwed up. So you find yourself not sleeping great. I would drive up to, Seattle and, leave at 10 o'clock at night and get in at 1 o'clock in the morning. But then you're
Mm,
all jacked up from the drive. So you can't sleep and you have to get up at 7 the next day. But I found, we started a line of chews. Chalice has, call it, it's a fruit chew line, but it's, William did everything right. He did, it's beet sugar, the organic ingredients. We
mm,
use real fruit in our flavoring systems. We set a quality standard that I think the industry didn't expect or require, but we did. And I started with, we had a 1-to-1 mixture of called acai berry, and I found it worked incredibly well for me for sleep. We've now varied,
mm.
we have 10-to-1s. There's just because the one thing that makes cannabis completely unique. You and I could take the exact same product and have very different experiences. I think the
Exactly.
challenge is to ensure that you help people start slow and to learn what works and doesn't work. We're very focused now, for example, in the chain around teaching terpenes, which seems like really odd, but the better you understand how your body reacts to certain terpene profiles, the better off
Mhm.
and the better experience you're going to have. So we're doing more and more of that. But the edible line is a function of starting slow. Edibles are tough because how quickly they react to your body, right? So yeah, I
Right.
heard all the horror stories. Someone taking one of our chews and then 10 minutes later going, wow, it's not happening. I'll do another one. And pretty soon, an hour and a half later, then they can't stand up.
Yeah,
So I think
yeah,
edibles have always
sure.
been dangerous in that regard, but you have to be careful in the way you approach it, which that's how we start.
Mhm,
Tinctures, topicals. That's typically where people start. They're not going to get them now. Once they get started, then you're introduce them to the power of the plant and flower. And we made a huge commitment in flower. That's really started to been really nice. And now we've moved heavily into dabs and concentrates and rosins. And rosins are really interesting to me because
mm,
there's nothing there but the plant. So to me,
right,
I think, we're going to get, and that's as a company, we're going to allow people to take that journey with us. You can walk into our store and you'll see in our own products, you'll see we have our own grow facility called Bald Peak and about 10,000 square feet. So our strains, you'll find them in flower. You'll find them, in cartridges. You'll find them potentially in our edibles. You'll find them in dabs. So you'll be able to go through the flower in different consumption methodology, which I just think is going to make it easier for people to
mhm,
understand. And I think and you'll start to see how your body reacts differently. And as you learn and you get more and more comfortable and you'll get
mhm.
more and more predictable response, which I get excited about.
True. Yeah, yeah, very true. Um, yeah, your quick anecdote about edibles gave me some flashbacks, man.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
we have
oh,
some of the
man.
funniest stories. You'll listen to people, we make a blast, which is a 50 milligram. Yeah, you're supposed to have 10 little pieces of it, but it looks just
Sure,
like
sure.
our 10 milligram. And if
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
not careful, it's a whole different experience.
Oh,
And you don't see it coming. And I think, I laugh, my wife will hate me for telling the story, but she had a tincture she was working on to ease some pain. And it because it slowly sneaks up on you depending on your personality. It can either help you go to sleep or it can accentuate anxiety, right?
right. Yep, yep.
And you can imagine we took two very different paths. I could barely keep my head off the couch and she was running around the front yard. So it's just,
Oh,
whole different
man.
experience.
Yeah, man. Edibles, it's almost as if they can tell when you talk shit about them because it's like that. It's like that's when they kick in.
Yeah,
You know
no,
what I mean? They're
it's
like
really
waiting. They're like
just
waiting
when you
for you
start to
to
think nothing's gonna happen is exactly
right on, man. Um, so let me ask you about this because just in the couple days prior to our conversation here, Chalice Farms put out some news about what you've got going on for the holiday
right.
season.
Yes.
So just a few days ago, Chalice Farms announced the launch of its Holiday in Color pre-roll pack. So can you tell me more about those? And inquiring minds want to know when they can find these on the shelves.
Well, you'll be able to find them now. They're selling out very quickly. But literally,
Nice.
it was driven by. I spent a lot of time in our stores and watching our customers. And one of the things you'll notice is that people who come into the store regularly find things that they like and they stick with them. And
Hmm.
trying new products is difficult because the cost of failure is pretty high, right? So if you want to try new chew and you're used to buying a certain brand and which we couldn't encourage you to do it. So because it was a large investment. So we started to think about 2 packs, so the price of entry was much easier. And the pre-roll business I really liked for a whole lot of reasons, but one of those was the ability to try and try quickly and try. So we basically put all of our strains into a single package. You can now try all the strains. We have complete profiles on each package. But the long-term thought, and look, my goal had been it didn't get there because of regulation. I want you to be able to mix and match, right? You take 2 of these, 1 of these, and
Right.
try. And then,
Sure.
my whole thing was to encourage discovery because I think that's kind of what we're talking about here. And so we're halfway there, but that's the pre-roll pack, and it'll start to introduce all of our customers to our new flower
Nice.
from
Right
Balde.
on. Right on. How many do you know off the top of your head just how many strains you guys sort of have in rotation, or is that constantly
I
changing?
think we're going to have no. I think we have about 6 in rotation. We're continuing to add. We've now put our own genetics program in place, which I'm
Hmm.
really excited about. I think as Bald Peak continues to mature, I think it's going to be very, very exciting. We basically provided real clarity. We're setting out. We think we have one of the most advanced facilities in Oregon, and we want to produce some of the best product in the state. It's a huge challenge because there are incredible growers here and great farmers, and we're just going to put our hat in the ring. We're not naive that it takes time and a lot of practice, but I've got an
Sure.
amazing team at Bald Peak, and I basically give them the latitude to try till we kind of something that people go, wow, that's amazing. So
I love
that's
that.
so we're gonna continue to see strains coming in and out. William had some legacy strains that had almost got lost and we brought back, and so those are starting to come back in. I can't give you all the names of them right now, but it's exciting to see both our legacy strains come back as well as some of the new ones we're bringing in too.
I dig it. I dig it. Right on. So those those holiday pre-rolls are on shelves now, but you said
Yeah,
they're
on
selling
shelves
like
now, in
hotcakes.
stores now, and
Yeah.
really happy with the way they're selling. I think the other thing
I
for the
dig it.
holiday that I'm really, really proud of, and this is something that we've worked, but we went in partnership with. We've got some amazing partners, and the quality of the work that Megan Miller, who runs both my grow operation as well as all of our merchants and buying, she's built some very deep partnerships with some amazing partners. And we put together a program. When you walk in our stores, you're going to see our featured partners, Pax and Oregon and Oricron, and they just really featured really well. We have a magazine coming up that I'll have to send you that I'm
Yes.
so proud of. It
Yes.
features the stories of each of the brands. It's got all sorts of different holiday ideas and different recipes for your product. I was so proud of this magazine, and we do a weekly digital version every week.
Yeah.
From flour to dabs to concentrate, just got everything. Um, and then we rolled it into a print edition, so you'll have a print edition, and it's being produced right now. I'll have it in stores next week. But I have to say, I'm really proud, and it does such a nice job of showcasing our partners, and then importantly, it's really working for them too. Their products, in many cases, are doubling in sales week over week. But we're also in partnership with them. Also, they're featuring us on their social channels, so you get an amplification effect. So it's a digital outreach campaign, print, in store, fully integrated, and they participated with us on it. So it's been a big first. You're going to see for the first time ever Black Friday we have in our stores. We're going to have Cyber Monday tied into gaming. We're offering a
Wow.
custom designed Xbox tied into the spirit. You have cannabis, which I think is
Whoa.
great because gamers love weed and want a part of that.
Indeed, they do.
And we have the countdown to Christmas, which is 8 days of Christmas, so we're going to count down different promotions every single day and
Yeah.
New Year's Eve. So we made a decision to lean into the fourth quarter. Typically, the business has seen a decline, right? Your third quarter is your biggest, your fourth is always softer, and we
Sure.
decided that we're going to prove that wrong. And so far, knock on wood, we're seeing where our performance has not dropped much from July and August, which is amazing. Our wholesale business continues strong. I don't know how it'll be after Thanksgiving. It typically shuts down pretty hard, so we'll see how that works out.
Mm.
But we put together a promotion calendar that will make it fun for people to shop and give them some great value.
Yeah, I was looking. Oh, by the way, the magazine is called Chalice Farms
Yes,
magazine. Is that right?
absolutely. Yep, you got it right.
Dig it. Yeah, right on,
And
right
there's
on. Yeah, I
a
was checking
digital
that out.
version. You can go online right now. It's there, but we'll also have print available in all our stores too.
That's rad. That's rad. The first edition is focusing, if I have this right, on cannabis and hardware. Is that
Yes,
sort of the theme of
fantastic.
the first
Yeah, yeah.
publication?
Oh,
Yeah, I
yeah.
dig it. That's
We have
rad. Yeah,
flour, and we'll go into cartridges. Every
yeah.
single, theme has a different cover, and then different stories, and we feature different partners. I'm really proud of the work. The marketing team is led by Karen Morgan, who Karen came out of Los Angeles. And it's funny, we connected, randomly through LinkedIn, years ago. We never. I was down in Los Angeles for a long time, and she was there. And then, literally a year and a half ago, she called and said, "Hey, just want to connect." I said, "Wow, Karen, I hadn't heard from you forever." So where are you now? She goes, "I'm in Lake Oswego, which is 10 minutes from my home."
Okay.
We connected, and she had run a large studio, marketing, really forefront of innovation, clients like AT&T and T and Microsoft, and really some of the biggest brands. And she joined us about a year ago and has literally transformed the marketing effort.
Mm,
So it's been pretty amazing. We've got a great publisher who works for us that's got us into the magazine business, named Molly Mai. She's done an incredible job. So I'd say overall, I'm really proud of the body of work that they continue to do. And then one of the things we just changed, which has been a big step, is we opened up the social channels to the stores themselves and our employees in stores. And the work they're doing is insane. It's just so authentic. It's what they love, what they talk about. So it's brought a whole new dimension to the digital effort. And I'm really proud of them too.
that's awesome. I can imagine it brought a deeper sense of authenticity, giving the
Absolutely.
chance for them to,
Absolutely.
to express their voices in those channels.
Yeah,
That's dope.
exactly. And they've done it so responsibly and so um, authentically. I think that's the right word. It is
Mm,
who they are, what they believe, and why they're in our stores, and it comes through in the way they post. And I like that a lot. So it's not just
that's right.
here's the deal of the day kind of conversation at all.
Yeah,
So it's great.
totally, totally. And speaking of the, you mentioned you're doing promotions during this holiday
Yeah,
season. I understand. Yeah, Chalice Farms is doing these week long promotions and these specials. The first one was called
yeah,
Felice Navi Dab and a cartridge in a pear tree.
you
So
got it.
first
Absolutely.
question is who was the genius who came up with these promotion names? Because I
We've
got a kick
got
out of
we've
reading.
got a writer
That
on
was
our
so
team.
funny.
She's
Yeah.
insane, such a talent. It shows you how the world works. It's one of our marketing employees named Emily. She had a friend from college that used to write together, and they both were writers. And she reached out to her and said, "Hey, do you want to help?" And if you read her voice and her sense of humor, is becoming all throughout our voice. But yeah, no, that's all her. She came up with all, and you'll see, I think there's 5 or 6 different themes. You'll see the covers, we took every single cover, the digital issue, and put it on the print issue, but each one of them
Right.
is really, really smart. So I am pleased, and it makes me smile and pretty happy.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Props for that. I definitely got a kick out of reading when I saw Felice Navidad, I was like, "Oh yeah, these are my people. This is my type of people right here."
And they
Cartridge in a pear
yeah,
tree.
yeah,
Oh
it's been
man.
good, it's been good. You gotta have a little bit of fun.
That's rad. Yeah. Now, you mentioned at the top of our recording here that you went to school in Ann Arbor, Michigan, U of M, right?
I did.
University of
As an
Michigan?
undergrad, yeah, that
Right
was great.
on. Where are you originally from? Were you
I was
born in Michigan?
It's a funny story. I born in Germany, I was an Air Force baby, and
Okay.
then my
Okay.
dad worked for Quaker Oats. If it was small and smelled bad, we lived there. Everything from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, St. Joseph, Missouri, Elizabeth, New
Sure.
Jersey, just all over the place. And then
Sure.
about, I would say junior high school, the Chicago area, and high school in
Mm.
Chicago, and then Michigan, Northwest Michigan, and then back to Northwestern for grad school. So I say Midwest for the most part.
Got it.
Whole
So you're a
family's from
Midwester.
Kansas. Yeah, my family's farmers are from Kansas.
I dig that. I dig that. Yeah, I was born and raised in Michigan in a small town called Oxford. It's about an hour north of Detroit.
Got it.
Yeah, it was like me and like 5 other brown kids, and we just had each other's backs up there.
You were
But that's
trailblazer,
rad.
my friend.
That's
Trailblazer.
right. That's right. But I love Ann Arbor. I love U of M. I had family that went there. So speaking from one, since you went to school there, I would consider you an honorary Michigander
Thank
because
you.
you did spend a
Absolutely.
considerable amount of time there. Yeah, no
Absolutely.
doubt, no
Well,
doubt.
and then on
So,
top of it, I've had, in fact, quick story. There's
oh, dig
7 of
it.
us sitting together in a bar on graduation day. Don't remember much. We say, hey, let's get together for the rest of our lives once a year. And everyone says that, then never happens. We're now
Right.
41 years later. We've never missed a year. Closest group of friends I had. And of
No
that,
way.
I think about 15, 16 of our kids went to Michigan. So I would say we're very
Wow.
deep in Michigan.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Then this is you are definitely amongst a
Absolutely.
group of
Very
honorary
proud.
Michiganders. That's what's up. So again, from one Michigander to another, do you have any considerations for expanding the company into the recreational market in Michigan? It being so far the only state in the Midwest that has recreationally legalized cannabis, and or do you have any plans to expand into any other markets as
It's
of now?
interesting. Absolutely, we would like to. I think I had a privilege to work with an individual named Ernest Gallo. He started the Ernest and Julio Gallo Winery. It's the largest privately held company
Mm,
and wine company in the world. And one of the things
sure.
Ernest taught me was don't expand so quickly that you don't have the base in your core markets established. And so I thought about growth in this strategy called crawl, walk, run. The crawl phase is
Mm,
validate your revenue stream before you do huge capital investment, which was different. And when I got here, Golden was spending millions of dollars all over the place with no proof of revenue at all. And so we said, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to go into California. We'll find third-party distributor, third-party manufacturers, limited capital investment, and we'll see if they like our products. And that's the crawl phase. Once you know that they like it, then you
mm,
start to develop an acceleration. So you invest a little bit deeper, you put your own sales organization in, potentially your own manufacturing, and then the ultimate goal in every market is to have our own stores, right? So that's kind of the goal. So now you think about our markets, Oregon is our run market, right? We have all the way from our grow to our production to our own sales and distribution
hmm
to retail. And oh, by the way, it's our most profitable market, as you can imagine. Then you walk into a market like
hmm
Nevada. Nevada obviously got kicked to the curb hard by COVID, but our plan there is to have our own manufacturing, our own distribution, but not our own stores yet. And obviously, we like to have stores. California, we're just evolving from crawl to walk, and we're really excited by the opportunity there. But you just don't have the same risk. And so once I get California going and it's running the way we want it to, then we'll look to expand other markets. Obviously, I'd love to be in Michigan.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I would love to see y'all
Yeah,
there when
no,
I'm
it's
visiting
um,
visiting the
it's a
family.
great market. It has a long culture, especially around Ann Arbor. Um, the hash bash, which I'm sure you're well aware of, is my very first day on
Yes.
campus, right? I showed up, I cut school in high school
Yeah.
and went up to go check out the school. And I showed up on April 1st and for a small Midwestern town, yeah.
No
And I
way.
walked on, and there was no orientation program. There was no, someone showing me around the campus. You just literally walked around. And here I am on the diag watching, tables of weed and hash set up
Yeah.
and people selling and playing frisbee and having a great time. And I'm like, wow, this is pretty amazing. And but the funny thing was, and you know this because you've been up there, it's whether you come from a really conservative background or very liberal or progressive, if you're very wealthy or you're there on a scholarship, everyone loved the school. It was all
Mm,
about blue and the love of Michigan. And it
uh-huh.
was really a fun environment to be. It was always about the school first and who you were, fit into it was, an amazing kaleidoscope of culture and personality and perspective. Why
Yeah.
you want to go to college.
Yeah. That's so rad, man. That is so. I love that your first day
parked my
on
68
Hashtag.
Volkswagen, walked into a back, and could not see what was going on. I could not believe what I saw.
That is hilarious, man. That's so funny. Last question for you. What do you have? What are you most looking forward to close out this year and in the beginning of next year? What are you most looking forward to?
I think number one is make sure all of our employees stay healthy. So if we can pull that off, I think that'll be the gift of the season for me. If we can get them through the season and they've stayed healthy, I think proving we set out this goal to break the curve, which is fourth quarter, small and third. If we have a great fourth quarter, I think that's exciting. And I want to grow our footprint. So we're looking to expand and add more stores. And I'll know pretty much for the end of the quarter if I can pull that off too. So I'm looking forward to next year. I think we're excited. It's an amazing team that we put together here. And I think we love seeing the impact we're having with our products.
Dig it, man. I love that. Well, keep up the good work. I sincerely hope, again, that you and your entire team continue to be well and continue to keep the health up. And I wish you all the best. I sincerely hope that, sometime in the near future, we could have a hash bash over in Ann Arbor.
You have an open invitation up here anytime. Love to take you through the grow. You have to see what we're doing there. Open door anytime.
Yeah, no doubt.
So thank you for the time.
I would love to. Yeah, no doubt. Stick around just for a minute or two after we're done with the recording, just so I could say something to you off air. But Jeff, thank you so much, man, for your time. I really appreciate it. And we'll talk to you again soon. My thanks again to Jeff Yapp for joining me. If you are a member of the cannabis community and have a story you want to share with us, we would love to hear from you. You can reach the show at hashitout@TRICHOMES.com. You can help others find the show by taking a moment to subscribe to the podcast and write a review. You can also join the discussion with industry insiders and get your voice heard by joining the community at TRICHOMES.com and following us on all social media. Hash It Out is produced by David Fortin and presented by TRICHOMES.com. I'm your host, RJ Balde. I'll catch you next time.